Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Am I audible at the back? Yeah, thanks. I guess this is the last session for today, but the most important session. I'm sure all of you have been waiting to hear from me. I mean, what is that Dell is going to unveil? You've been called today saying, there's something interesting that Dell is going to launch, which is going to make a huge difference for not only Dell, but for the customers as well as the partners here, because you are our engine for growth. I don't want to re-emphasize this because this has been talked enough by my other colleagues, Suresh as well as Vikas did also reinforce that we are looking at this innovation, the next generation servers that we have launched, 12G, and let me once again reiterate the word. We all know that server sale today is also becoming commoditized to some extent, but I think that trend is changing today. The trend is changing, customers are thinking differently, and there are a lot of factors and there are a lot of drivers which are actually forcing the customers to think differently. So we'll give an overview of how customers are thinking and what are those compelling drivers and reasons which are asking for this change or calling for this change, and what technology leaders like Dell are therefore engineering in these innovations that we are talking today, and how is it going to make a difference for all of us, right? Not only to position these as a differentiator to customer, also when customer starts owning this as an infrastructure within the data center, it is really going to eliminate a lot of challenges. So we're going to kind of little bit deep dive for the next 30 minutes, and then we'll follow it up with a question. Now let me pick up one more aspect. If you look at Dell today from a server business perspective, Q4 of last year, which is October, November, December, Dell established itself as a leader in terms of market share. Number one in terms of revenue share for x86 business, and our core focus has only been on x86 business so far. We never touched the non-x86 proprietary portfolio at all, and we don't believe that there is a strategy there, right? We've been, for the last, I would say, over a decade, continuously focused on x86, and we believe that x86 as a technology using open standards is really going to make a difference to customers. And we're seeing this trend taking off globally as well. I can call out several examples. I can call out several large implementations which are running on x86 today. Most mission critical business applications of large corporates, the biggies, right? Most of them are today powered by x86 servers. So I think that trend is slowly catching up to other emerging economies as well. And we see markets like India also significantly moving in that direction, and therefore Dell is positioned very, very strongly to acquire that market. And we believe our partners who are also working with us in that journey have a reasonable fair play, and there's a lot of opportunity and potential in the market for us to go and jointly address, right? So with this, let me walk through some of the drivers, and I'm excited here to launch and unveil the 12G, the 12th generation servers, and discuss some of those characteristics. Before I point out some of those drivers, let me also give you one more interesting insight, which probably you may not be aware, that while we are launching 12th generation servers and Dell in India, in front of this forum, we are already started design on 13th generation servers. And I don't have a definitive timeline on when we will formally launch 13th generation servers, but I must say that the work is in progress. All those engineering, validation, test teams have already started work, right? It is a clear advanced planning. This shows our focus and commitment to this business, right? So then imagine if you want to correlate that with 12G, this work has almost started in about year 2010 onwards. Since then, we did several surveys across the globe. India was one of them, and I was part of that survey. Several focus group discussions with customers. We took some inputs. We really went to customers and understood what are the new features or what are the new developments that they will look if a next generation computing platform is launched, right? When you talk of servers or when you talk of a next generation computing device, the focus generally trends towards the processor. But processor is just one component, right? It does not do anything and everything. Generally we tend to get carried away by what processor it is. Is it an Intel based processor or an AMD based processor, etc. But that's not the case. There are a lot of things that you have to build at a platform level that will accomplish it to be a full-fledged enterprise class server or a mid-range server. So all these attributes have to be essentially built in, and you have to have a balanced architecture suiting different customer and different organization needs. And then you have a play for going and positioning those portfolio to the kind of customer segments that you're handling day to day, right? So we've already started thinking about 13G. We are creating inputs, and I'm not sure when the launch would be, but we are well ahead of our competition in terms of planning. We are well ahead in terms of design attributes. We're going to show some of the design attributes today, and we are well ahead in terms of time to market as well. In terms of time to market, I'm sure we are not hearing our competitors talking about readiness in supplies. Yes, there have been some announcements, sporadic announcements, but definitive readiness in supplies is still not there, but we are already ready. We were already ready 6 months back, but we had to wait for certain embargoes to fulfill, and once that embargo was cleared, we announced that we are ready to ship from day one. Right? And I understand across APJ, we've already exceeded some of the targets, the initial targets that we want to do in terms of server shipments. And India is catching up to that race. And here is a golden opportunity, and I encourage all of you to look at this keenly, look at this technology, understand some of its benefits, encourage your team members to go and talk to your customers. So let's understand what's happening in the market, right? I'm sure these are familiar, therefore I'm not going to go into detail, but I'll pick a couple of examples for you to understand. Now, consumerization is something that you are pretty familiar. It is as a result of consumerization, as a result of allowing various users in an organization to bring their own device, it kind of puts a lot of pressure on the data center. Why? The moment you have a BlackBerry or let's say a tablet or an iPad or an iPhone, etc., and you want to access, you have to ensure your application has to be portable in various devices. That's just a starting point. Thereafter, the problems start creeping in. Security, compliance, right? Performance. Somebody who is using, for example, I use the BlackBerry and I get some mails, I get some updates. I'll never compromise on performance. Whenever I want to access, I have to have that information within minutes, no matter where I am, right? Irrespective of me being in Bangalore or in any remote location. That's the expectation of sales users or business users today, and IT has to fulfill all of that. Therefore, there is a lot of pressure on the data center, on the compute infrastructure, on how it is going to scale. And it only starts there and it culminates to the rest of the data center infrastructure. So we'll talk a little more in detail. The second catalyst, the biggest catalyst that is driving the way IT is being purchased today is virtualization. Forget about how IT is deployed or how IT is managed. We all know that. That has completely changed. But today, virtualization is even changing the way how IT is being purchased. Customers who used to buy 5 servers for 4 or 5 applications today are buying only 1. And they know they can run virtual machines. Right? And the virtual machine density, therefore, is expanding significantly, and it has kind of created a complexity in terms of administration and management. As a result, again, there is huge pressure on the expectation of that compute infrastructure which is in the data center. Third, cloud. I think this is not a buzzword anymore. It has become a tool that most of the data center heads are wanting to leverage, because they know that this is going to drive a lot of flexibility and agility within their data center. Right? And therefore, in the process of doing so, the question comes on how I can seamlessly integrate my existing setup and how I can get this new technology, whatever is coming in, I can run both seamlessly. And in India, that is a typical mindset. We all know that most of our customers will not want to discard their infrastructure easily. Right? Some of them say 3 years, 5 years. I've seen customers saying 7 years is the life cycle of the investment that they have made. They will not want to change. Therefore, we've got to look at balanced propositions and slowly help customers transition. Right? Now, all these are again putting pressure on how the new generation servers or the expectations from the new generation servers. If you look at what outcomes that customers are expecting, and this is something that I'm sure as you talk to your customer, you also hear the same feedback as we have heard, that more than often they say they want to do more. They want more performance, right? So more performance means they would want to have a lesser footprint in their data center. They want to have lesser number of servers as much as possible, but at the same time they want to achieve or do more tasks, right? They want to increase their capability in terms of running more workloads. They want to build a dynamism in ensuring that the workloads can move from one system to another system. As a result, they expect a real fast results to be delivered at any point of time, right? So management, reducing number of tools, reducing number of consoles within a data center is becoming prominent. They don't want too many people to be there. They don't want administrators to take overhead of all provisioning and managing systems. That is also creating a focus on how the new generation server should deliver. And last but not the least, this is something that I'm sure day to day you will hear, is about efficiency. Lowest TCO is the requirement. How can you get servers which can deliver the lowest TCO? It should not put pressure on my operational cost, right? Low power, low consumption, therefore I'm happy. I can provision lesser cooling and the power, the other infrastructure which is necessary. Therefore, I can lower the overall TCO. That is becoming a significant component. There's a large amount of focus that goes on what kind of efficient server technology that you bring in. Now, Dell has understood the implication of all these drivers in the market, all these changes that are happening, and what customers are expecting. And I did mention that from last 1.5 years, we started survey about what customers are expecting, and we thought, let us bring those attributes into our design. And then we introduced the next generation hero, which is our 12th generation servers, right? And these today are highly, the most innovative, easily manageable, and very, very, very high performing servers. And we're going to have this under a broad portfolio of our offering as well, right? So this is, we believe that this is going to make a significant difference to customers when you go and talk about our next generation, which is 12th generation servers, right? Let me take this opportunity to unveil this, and we'll talk a little more in detail. And instead of showing you a slide, let me show you a real server. How many of you have seen a real server? Very few, right? So some of you have not seen it. Here is an opportunity.
That calls for a bigger round of applause.
Okay, this is a cute looking blade server. And how many times have you seen somebody using a word for a server, words like cute and sleek and all of that, right? This is a cute looking, be it ERP or OLTP, etc., is going to make a significant difference because there are a lot of enhancements that has gone into this product range. So we thought we'll start our launch with the topmost of our portfolio, which is our blade portfolio. And here it is, one such example, and we have several such showcases today, which is there in our expo area. And I would encourage, post this session, please feel free to walk up to our experts and know a little more deeper insights of this technology. Yeah, can we switch over? Okay, so as part of wave 1, which is we call as the first wave, we are introducing 5 products as part of our 12th generation servers. So our current existing generation, which is the 11th generation, continues, but as a part of wave 1, we've introduced 5 new servers, and slowly in the next 2-3 months you will see this broadening even further. And if you see, have a look at the first 5 few. We've introduced 3 racks, 1 tower and 1 blade, 2 socket. And primarily all of them are 2 socket focused. And for some of you who relate, a lot of them have headroom for PCI slots. I'll let my colleague who's been in Dell seeing servers from 4th generation being launched. So I thought it would be better as I request him to come and speak and talk about his experience and how did it change and how Dell is evolving. So I think that is something that you would want to hear and share with your customers as well. So let me invite Justin.
Thank you. Okay. Evening, everyone. My name's Justin Boyd, so I'm responsible for our server portfolio across APJ. So both on a hardware product side of things and also the whole software stack. So what we thought we'd do is give you a quick overview of some of the key technologies that we've built in our 12th generation of servers based on direct feedback from multiple different teams that we've had going on for the last couple of years. So we've had roughly about 8,000 different interactions with customers over the last couple of years, and we've had around about 800 of these systems in the field, in with customers, going through some beta testing. And I'll comment on some of the findings and some of the things that customers have come back and said that they wanted to see in our 12th generation of servers. So, we've already mentioned that there's tower products, there's rack products, there's blade products, so they're all available today. What you'll see over the next couple of quarters is as the different chip manufacturers release their new processors, we'll continue to expand our 11th generation of portfolio and actually completely update it roughly by about this time next year. There's probably one product that I want to talk about that's actually not on this slide, and we continue to get lots of requests from both our channel partners and also our customers. And that's in the blade space. So we've been very focused in on the blade space for the last probably 4 or 5 years now, once we introduced the M1000E chassis. What you'll see from Dell over the next couple of months is a new blade server. So we're going to release a quarter height blade to the market, which will allow customers to put in 32 blades inside of a M1000E chassis. So that's pretty exciting for us and also for the market. What you'll also see is we'll start to incorporate storage into our blade chassis as well. So watch out for those two key innovations that we bring to market over the next couple of months. Okay, so from a technology standpoint, I'll just cover off a couple of the key technologies, and then obviously you can talk with your Dell reps about some more detail. It's already been mentioned about the amount of memory that we can now scale inside of all of our Wave 1 servers. So we can now go up to 768 gigs of memory, which is pretty amazing. Especially if you've got customers in that virtualization space or looking at deploying virtualization solutions. We all know that virtualization loves as much memory as you can throw at it. So we're seeing some pretty awesome performance results on our 12th generation servers based in virtualization environments, because not only because of the new processor technology, but what we've done with memory, and probably even more importantly, what we've actually done with the I/O subsystem of these servers as well. To be honest, I think I/O inside an x86 server has been one of the bottlenecks. So we focused very hard on redesigning that, building an architecture that will support the new processors, immense amounts of memory, and also more importantly, more data traffic both internally inside the server as well as externally out to the network. So whether that be IP-based network or SAN type of connectivity. So I talked a bit about I/O performance. One of the other comments that we got from our customers is, give us solid-state drive technology inside of a general purpose server. So with our 12th generation of servers, we can now put in solid-state disk inside those servers. A couple of years ago, it wasn't the investment wasn't there from a cost perspective because solid-state disks were still quite expensive. But we've seen over the last couple of years this technology and the cost rapidly calm down. So now it's cost-effective to put in solid-state drive technology into our general purpose servers. So if you have customers that have large database types of environments, so SQL, Oracle, and things like that, we're seeing some awesome performance around putting some of the logs and database files on solid-state disk technology. So definitely worth having a look at. Graphical processing units or GPUs, again, really designed for our customers that were looking at the HPC space as well as VDI deployments. So we can now support graphical processing cards inside of our tower products as well as our rack mount products as well. The performance that we're getting out of the 12th generation servers with these graphical processing units basically equate to a top 50 supercomputer from a couple of years ago. So in a single box, we can outperform the vast majority of the top 50 supercomputers from a couple of years ago. So again, if you've got customers that have large requirements for HPC or large deployments of VDI, definitely worth having a look at what we can do in the GPU space. Management has always been a big focus for us. As was mentioned, I've been with Dell for 13 years. I've seen actually our first generation of servers, so we're now up to a 12th generation of servers. Probably back 4 or 5 generations ago, we set about really changing how our customers and end users deal with our systems on a day-to-day basis. So with our 12th generation of servers, we've gone on that same mantra and built a lot of new technologies into the box. One of the big ones is agent-free management. So we continue to get feedback from our customers as they no longer wanted to load an agent on their server. So what this allows you to do is to manage a server infrastructure without actually loading an agent. So obviously, that's going to assist from reducing some of the complexity, processing cycles used by software agents. But it also means it opens up different operating systems and different virtualization types of software as well. iDRAC, so we're on our 7th generation of iDRAC. iDRAC and our lifecycle controller are basically the cornerstone to all of the systems management that we do inside of a server. We've built in some pretty cool new features around helping our customers replace components without additional complexity around worrying about doing BIOS updates and things like that. So that's all intelligently built into the controller itself, so we can have customers remove components. The system will automatically recognize that there's a new component in there, reflash the BIOS of that particular component if needed, and bring back the settings of that system. So again, just reducing the complexity of some of the day-to-day tasks around managing a server infrastructure. So systems management, power and cooling has been another key focus for us. I know in India you have the same issue as what our customers in Australia and China and Japan have. Power costs are going through the roof. In some of countries like Japan and Australia, a lot of those data centers, the electricity departments actually won't let them have any more power. So customers are continue coming back to us and saying, hey, give us a solution where we can use our own data center or our current data center today, but we can reduce the amount of power and also the amount of cooling that's actually required in it. So what we've done with our 12th generation of servers is actually integrated a lot of the technology that we built with our Blade products into our general purpose servers. So as an example, what you can now do with our 12th generation of servers is actually set power caps on the amount of power that is used either within a single server or in a whole rack of servers. So again, if you've got customers that have a data center and they can't afford the millions of dollars to go and build a new one, a great solution to help them extend the life of their data center. So also on the power and cooling side of things, we introduced a concept or a term that we call fresh air. We introduced this with our 11th generation of server products, and we take it to the next level with our 12th generation of server products. So basically, we are the only vendor in the market today that has the ability of running our servers at 45 degrees C. And we will support those servers running at that temperature for over a month, 24/7. So again, when you're talking to your customers, there's some fantastic power savings and also cooling savings that can be achieved by actually raising the temperature of the data center. This is not just, we haven't just spun up the RPMs of the fans. We've done a lot of work around airflow technology inside our servers, as well as changing component material inside our server as well to allow these servers to achieve this 45 degrees. I mentioned it has been available in some of our 11th generation of servers. You'll see it throughout the 12th generation server products. You'll see us develop and integrate this technology into all of our networking components and eventually into all of our storage components as well. So you'll see Dell, definitely leading the charge from a power and cooling perspective and also a systems management perspective. So I thought I'd just give you a quick overview of what you can expect. Obviously, you've got all the Dell team members here to get into some more conversations around how these products can potentially help your customers. So with that, what I'll do is I'll pass back to probably our most enthused server and storage evangelist that we've got in India. So thank you.
Able to hear you. I have a low. No, sir. Can we still better? Yes. Yeah. Thanks for that. And I'm sure you're going to see a loud S from customers when you position these features. Let me quickly do a recap before running through a couple of more slides. Not going to bore you beyond this. I'm sure these are definite inputs not only to your teams within your organizations but to your customers as well. Is to look at the memory footprint, the expanded memory footprint. Now, everybody in the industry can say, yes, I provide expanded memory footprint, but limiting it to only a certain class of servers has been the challenge of late. But in the 12th generation servers, we have kind of extended that to a broader range of our portfolio, right? Right from the tower onwards to the rack, the mainstream racks, the general purpose servers, and the blades. You will see as much as expandability option in memory footprint being available. So what it means is, when you start looking at virtualization, it is memory hungry. The fundamental need for virtualization is memory. And then comes I/O, where in I/O you got to look at two different components, which is the bandwidth as well as the disk, right? And disk again, we brought in flexibility of using SSDs, low cost. Today it's becoming more affordable, right? SSDs is becoming more affordable. It is low power, consuming high performance drives. So if customers would want to get more performance within the disk, I think these can be powered. The interesting thing is you can also do a mix and match of these drives within the same server. You can have few on SSD, create a different RAID pool. You can have few on the standard SAS or SATA that you are positioning to your customers. So you can pick and choose which data and what is important and accordingly do the tiering. We call that tiering, and you'll hear this term more prominent in storage business today. So here it is starting at the server itself, because we believe server is the foundation and heart of the data center. Everything and anything starts from there. I've been selling servers for the last 16 years, and I know that you lead a conversation with servers. I've never seen a customer going beyond buying the rest of the portfolio from you. And that's why it becomes a fundamental, primary foundation and a very clear choice of sale to customers. Right? Everything starts with the server. You can then get the periphery easily. You can get to the clients. You can move up the value chain from server to storage and networking and other stuff. Let me talk a little more detail on what we can do. Right? So these are some real big differentiators. And if you talk of fresh air again, what if you go and tell your customer that in a calendar year of 12 months, to run a rack of Dell servers, just switch off your chiller units for a month. Just switch it off, turn it off. And as a result, the temperature will start rising, and we have validated that to about 45 degrees, up to about 45 degrees. And today, in more and more data centers, what we hear is temperature is never constant. It is highly variable, right? It is highly varying, and keeping that trend in mind, and I talked about looking at all these trends, studying all this, hearing this feedback from customers, we've incorporated in design, right? And Justin did explain how did we achieve that. And it's going to make a significant difference if they turn off those equipments and their power bills, and especially customers who are, who think that the power bills are costing them, it's a heavy on their pocket. This is an answer to them. It's a straight answer. It's a great innovation. Nobody would have ever imagined. And these are features at this point of time very, very unique to Dell. Not sure if others will follow, how soon or how fast, but we are well ahead in terms of leading this market. And that's why I said, it's really exciting time to actually talk of these 12th generation technology. Though I've not spent as much of time as Justin did in Dell, but it's a clear differentiator when you go and talk to the market. We've seen various stages of how servers are being positioned to customer, and today, looking at all these new capabilities, it is extremely exciting, and we believe that here is a good opportunity to unlock the potential that Suresh mentioned. Let's go and unlock the potential that's available in the market, right? The next point I would want to re-emphasize there is the management. How many times when we think of positioning servers to a customer, we think about the management associated with the server? Do you or your teams think of that management element? Yes? It's extremely critical from a customer perspective, because when he buys a server, many a times we don't know what operating system he's going to load. We don't know what kind of drivers he's got, what kind of application he's got. Many a times we don't know. That's a scenario today. And therefore, all that intelligence of what drivers for the operating system is required, etc., had to be built in the server itself. Right? Today, the new Dell server, the moment it ships from a factory, all you need to request us is turn auto discover. We have a feature called auto discover in our server. You make a request, we turn that on. What it means, you bring the Dell server, put it in the rack, the server would broadcast itself saying, I'm the new kid in the block. I'm ready. Now push the drivers, push the operating system if you have it in your domain controller, right, as a shared repository, and your server is up and ready. And if you want to run hypervisors, today customers are not talking operating systems, they are talking of hypervisors. The hypervisors are also embedded across our portfolio of servers. It's not only limited to enterprise class, to a broad portfolio of servers, we have dual redundant hypervisors embedded. Default. And all these are features for you to go and charge premium in the market. Command premium, right? Make a high value sale, create a difference to the customer. Customer feels, hey, you've addressed most of my challenges that I've been facing, or you've addressed or accomplished in meeting quite a few expectations that I was expecting from the next generation servers, which today has been the bottleneck. I think you have an answer, and it's great. And this is the feedback that we are hearing from most of the customers. This is our third launch. We've done that in Delhi and Mumbai. Quite a few exciting reviews, quite a few exciting comments that we've received from customers. And I'm not in a position to disclose all of them, but the words are not enough to explain that excitement. And when customers come back to you and said, hey, you have an answer for my problem, I'm sure that's a delight that we would want to walk away end of the day, no matter whether we make a sale or not, with whatever profit margins we do. Right? That is the most accomplished statement or a reward that we expect from customer, and I can confidently tell you 12G will allow you to achieve that. And this is where we see the Dell and the partner relationship getting even more stronger. We established our leadership with 11G last year. I started this, I'm once again coming and connecting that statement. Today, by adding 12G, we believe that we have even more potential to lead this market. And we have even more potential to sell the high-end, the top-end server requirements in the market. Go to data centers, customers who are wary of power and cooling, etc. We have all that intelligence built in, and we're not going to charge extra or additional for that. At the same list price that our teams are sharing with you, all these feature sets are built in. We're not charging $1 extra. And these are some great engineering innovations that a team of in excess of about 700 plus people at Dell had spent over the last 18 months. Right? So it's not only them, there's a powerful ecosystem of partners that we work, and that's what I was showing, and these are the foundations for Dell in building those intelligence infrastructure. Lot of intelligence in terms of embedded management, embedded hypervisor, right? Allowing a broad range of disk support, allowing GPU support for VDI setups or business analytics or HPC kind of workloads. All that engineering validation has happened with a team of people within Dell. In addition, we have a team dedicated to only look at solutions, what customers will expect out of each of these workloads. And most of us know in any data center today there are common applications, right? There's going to be email, there's going to be SharePoint, there's going to be some Oracle application, there's going to be something which is more analytics in nature, there's going to be a portal based application. Looking at the fundamentals of the three-tier architecture, We have ensured that those are all validated in our 12G and they are optimized. Not only validation, you also have optimized so that when you deploy the server in that environment, you immediately get the right results that you want. So most of that engineering validation, that research is done by us. We don't want customers to waste their time in terms of how many virtual machines can I run in an X server. We have done that. And we've got all that reference architectures published, which you can also leverage and share to customers and educate them. It becomes an easy tutorial, easy reference guide for customers in terms of choosing what is the right set of server that I should buy in for, right, in the market. So we're simplifying even the methodology in which customers should decide on a technology. Last but not the least, unless you have a robust and fully integrated end-to-end services strategy, it's not going to work. And we have a great portfolio of offering of services. I would encourage you to visit our services booth and understand more in detail. Right? It starts with the basic services and it goes up to Premier Platinum support, where customer is completely covered 24/7 cross 365 with a highest amount of resolution and responsiveness commitment that we give. Right? And that's a significant differentiator. And there are customers who are saying, I want extended warranty, and we have that as part of our offering as well, so that he's covered through his 2, 3, 4, 5 years of investment that he's making on Dell. And to that extent, you can transfer that amount of ownership on us. We will make sure that is delivered for customer and your customer is kept happy. Right? We don't want you to take that burdens and again start looking at redeploying people. But if you have, we will be highly keen and happy to encourage and involve them as well. But look at all of these that is getting packaged behind. And that's where, basis on the foundation of keeping our technology open, we've ensured that we've leveraged all of these and we've brought in that in our 12G next generation portfolio of servers. And I did say that there are a lot of work that has gone, and this has happened out of India. And it gives me again a great privilege to share this, that in Manyata Tech Park in Bangalore, since I'm talking to most of the Bangalore audience, we have an R&D center where about 1,000 plus engineers work day to day on platform validation, solution engineering, customization, right, and workload validation, building out reference architectures, etc. And this is done for Dell globally. So all these design attributes, some of these workload validation that you're talking on the systems management, Dell Open Manage is the brand name. Most of this work is done out of these people behind, who generally you don't get to see them often. And the reason that I'm showing this to proof of concepts, experience, or customer visits, all these are done here. And the Dell team leverages it extremely well. And it's an additional window of opportunity. We are opening it up for you to tell us that if you feel that there is a need and necessity to get that real experience instead of showing PowerPoints, it's a fantastic medium. I strongly encourage you to look at this. Please speak to Dell representatives. We can have this as well arranged so that together we are able to get your customer to understand some of those real-time benefits that he's getting, and he will think that I'm making a right investment. That's the objective behind this. What we have done is also added most of these validations, most of these into something called as a repository called advisory tools. As the name denotes, advisory means it is an advisor to customer. If a customer would want to deploy SharePoint today, he need not worry what kind of server should I provision, how much memory I should have, how much disk I should provision, or what kind of storage requirement I should provision, etc. All that is provided seamlessly by a very, very user-friendly advisory tool. And this is available in Dell.com for customers to use. Name any workload, most of the commonly used workloads, we have that advisory tool. All he has to do is select and say, I have 3,000 users for SharePoint, or I have 10,000 users for my email. It will throw up the information on what kind of server you have to size, what kind of storage provisioning you got to do, and what is the other essential infrastructure as part of the data center that you need to make. And what kind of RPO, RTO. I don't want to get into detail. I love talking technology in detail, but let me stop there. If you want to even get that, you can allow customers to see that as well, and then decide. Right? So these are some of the, I think, tools that we are providing to our customers, as well as it's a platform for our partners to leverage and start sharing to customers as well. So as I rightly said in the beginning, server provides a foundation for selling, and I'm sure a lot of us are wanting to hear and listen more about selling today. So it's a foundation for your sale. For those of you who are dedicated and looking at into this business, involved only in this business, please start with server. That's my recommendation and learning. And the rest of the things will automatically follow. Right? The moment you start provisioning server in your data center, and that's why it's called foundation. The next question comes connectivity. Where's the network? Who can give me network? Then the next question comes, what about storage? Because my server has limited disk shells. Although Dell 12th generation have 26 disks, but my storage requirement is beyond that. My data is growing even exponentially. So where do I store that? Though I obviously have to provision a storage. So who will provide? Again, the answer is Dell will provide. So Dell also realizes that it starts from there, and therefore we have a portfolio of offering around the ecosystem of servers to complement and support. Today, when you lead with Dell, you can go and address end-to-end requirements of the data center to your customers. Although the hero of the discussion today or the center stage is on 12th generation servers, but do not the rest of the portfolio that you can leverage with Dell, right? And I have worked with partners in the past as well. So when we talk, often the feeling is, okay, I will go with server, but then there is another storage competition is bringing in. As a result, I'm struggling. So you can also stitch an end-to-end proposal today with complete Dell technology. And all the other elements that I spoke about, the solution resource, the advisory tools, etc., are fully made available and open. And we have also gone one step beyond this, and we are building pre-engineered, pre-sized configurations for customers for helping them quickly deploy in their data centers, and that's called vStart. So server storage, networking, racks, UPS, everything integrated with 50 VMs, 100 VMs and 200 VMs is ready, and just start deploying and your VMs are up and running. The server is provisioned. You can just got to push your workloads on VMs. All the necessary validation, engineering, cabling, everything is done at the Dell factory itself. It's a fully integrated stack. That's what you see there. We call it a business-ready configuration. Right? For those customers who do not have the time, bandwidth to get into each of these technology or spending too much of time in evaluating technology, the answer is vStart. And we are far ahead in terms of what our competition today are. Right? Affordable again. Affordable is not L1, right? Having a right price for the right customer. So we have right price points, which I'm sure when we add so much of value, customer would feel, yes, this is justifiable and this is an investment that I feel happy in making. And we are ensuring that we do that. So I'm almost through, and nothing ends without asking you to do some homework, right? The homework here, in other words, is please leverage this, share with your customer. And I'm sure the last 45 minutes has been good learning and education, isn't it not? Yes, there's a lot of more education available outside, but the one behind the bar which is waiting to open. Yeah, so please leverage that, and a lot of Dell experts who spend time whole day sitting here to talk to you. It will be a great opportunity. Many times our partners have said, hey, you don't expose us to all those deeper insights of your technology selling, and here is a platform, and if you have not used it, you are missing something, right? I'm not sure if you're the outside whether you're going to get a key for your car, but make sure that you visit them. There's a lot of control that we have done, so that you all visit that, take some learnings, leverage all of these, and then pass this on to the rest of your team members who could not make it today. This is just a beginning and starting, and we will have this on a continual basis. Get your teams trained, right? And more importantly, get our customers to know about all of these. Look back at your funnel. Go back and see what all server opportunities that you have today and those which are there tomorrow, and start seeing how do I move them to 12th generation servers. If you were to make a bill of material of 5 servers for some requirement, if you were to submit that, let's say 3 days from now, go back and say, hey, I will only give you 2 servers and that will do the job of 5. Customer will ask how? You say 12G is the answer. Because you have to provide the same compute power of what 5 did with 1 or 2 today. So we are talking of that level of performance improvements, right? And as a result, the cost of 5 servers versus 2 servers will also see a good justification on the acquisition. Initial acquisition cost as well will be lower. So start looking at all your opportunities, start educating your customers, leverage all those testimonials, white papers, the solution lab facilities, the solution experts who are talking to you from Dell, your account managers. Leverage those experts, get your teams trained, talk to your customers. Most of us are open to come on a joint calls. We are open to go with you to your customer and conduct specific discussion, deep dive on some of these technologies that we have spoken. And we make sure that you will jointly win with us. That's a very clear, transparent model that we've been operating, and I'm sure that is working well for us. And last but not the least, I would encourage you to look at becoming a server premier partner. You have to get the server certification. And why do you want to do so, and what is the incentive behind? And again, I will repeat my statement that server is the foundation of the data center. Everything starts there. And if you start there, and if you're there, it not only adds premium sale, high value sale, high profits, but it's at the same time it's going to open up the ecosystem in the data center and outside the data center to you. Outside the data center is all the clients and other equipments that connect to this data center, and within the data center the rest of the portfolio. And if you're looking at even managing applications, right, looking at virtualization, Dell has solutions there as well, and that's what I showed in the previous slide. So I'm not going to talk that in detail, but we'll be happy to come over and put that everything end to end and help customer design and build a robust dynamic data center with all the new advancements, 12th generation technology. Right? I hope there are enough information and feeds today, and this session was useful, and I really appreciate and thank you for your attention.